And it's a real pleasure to be here and part of this panel today and share with you some of the insights and experiences we have here at ING. And thanks, Gail and David, for your introductions and your thoughts. So where do we stand today? Now, there doesn't a day go by before we hear something about the challenging times we're collectively going through, right? These are quite unprecedented times because of the COVID-19 pandemic. But the challenges that we faced before this crisis haven't really disappeared. And those are challenges around climate change, loss of biodiversity, human rights violations, poor labor conditions, and financial distress. And we see the pandemic as a collective opportunity to kind of hit the reset button, as an opportunity to make change and to make new choices, to build back an even better world. Now, we want to play our part by financing a social and green recovery that creates jobs, speeds up growth, and builds more resilient societies. So what does it mean for us and what we were calling climate action? Now, it was said earlier, commitment is important, but action really is what counts. Now, we've taken the lead in pioneering and also inviting other banks to join us for the ride. Back in late 2018, I personally announced that at the Global Client Action Summit in San Francisco. We started the process of steering our entire lending portfolio, which is more than 600 billion euro, in line with Paris. And we had struggled for a number of years to figure out how to do that. And we're doing this now in what we call an innovative approach we call Terra. And at the heart of Terra is the climate methodology co-developed with the 2DI investing initiative and the use of mostly the PACTA methodology. And it uses science-based climate scenarios to measure the impact of different sectors on the climate and to set targets for each individual sector to transition to a low carbon future. Now, it works by looking effectively sector by sector at the technology shift that is needed to keep the rise of global temperatures well below the dangerous levels. And it measures the gap between that technology necessary and versus what the clients are currently using themselves today. Now, we first focused on our sectors in our loan book that generated the most greenhouse gases. Sectors like energy, automotive, shipping, aviation, steel, cement, and real estate. And Terra tells us per each individual sector how far along we are on the path to Paris and what is still needed to get there. Now, we can then finance the technology and innovation, which is what it's all about, that clients need to move their businesses further along the Paris pathway. Now, we believe that Terra can change the way that the banks think about the energy transition. This climate alignment approach is precise, it's forward-looking, and will ultimately have a significant impact as it steers key sectors towards technologies that underpin a low-carbon future rather than only measure a carbon-rich past. So with Terra, ING was the first bank in the world to commit to using forward-looking science-based climate scenarios to steer its business strategy. Now, I'm happy to tell you that we have now released our second Terra Progress Update report on our efforts to align our portfolio with Paris. And the report details our progress and our targets on climate alignment in our 9 sectors that are most responsible for climate change. And it shows whether our lending in each of these sectors is adding up to contribute to the goals of Paris. And those 9 sectors are mostly on track for climate alignment, with progress still needed in some. I'll give you a specific example. For instance, take one of the targets included in the report is to reduce the financing to upstream oil and gas by 19% by 2040, measuring from the 2019 levels. Now, that is in line with the International Energy Agency's Sustainable Development Scenario to meet Paris. Now, if the SDS adapts to require more drastic reduction anytime in the years ahead, that revised scenario will still go into our guidance for the direction that ING takes. So it's dynamic and it helps us steer. Now, what this means is that we now know where we are, where we should be heading by setting targets and timelines, but we're also able to steer our portfolio by engaging with our clients to ultimately make choices in financing. Now, many clients recognize the impact of climate change on their businesses and are already looking for sustainable financing solutions to change their course. And we can support our clients with our industry insights and incentivize them financially or otherwise to take necessary steps. For example, by reducing the emission intensity of their activities. Now, our approach to climate alignment is inclusive. So we work with our clients to facilitate and finance their shift to a low carbon technology. And it's also collaborative. We work with other banks and experts to set an open source methodology standard for the sector and thereby increase our impact. If you just Google ING and Terra, or you go to ing.com, it's entirely open source. Everything is available to any institution. So in summary, Terra is about financing our clients' transition, right, to a low carbon society with engagement at its heart and the divestment as a last resort. Because it's not about where our clients are today, but mostly where they are heading tomorrow. We have come along and have landed on a viable way forward that allows us to take action today. But of course, it's still a work in progress. I mean, we don't want to wait for the perfect methodology because there's really urgency to act. So we decided to move forward and tackle the problems along the way, even if we still don't know exactly how we're going to help solve all this. So the other thing is that Terra is based on collaboration. So we can sit here in our, I guess, home offices and come up with what we think is the right way to measure and steer. But if we do it only by ourselves, what effect will we have on the world around us? So the only way to create real change is to do it together with the financial sector. And that's why we actively worked with other banks in piloting the methodology with 2DI. That's why it is open source and open for all banks to use. And I hope this is just the beginning. Now, we have today as ING a leadership position in developing an innovative, accurate way we feel to measure climate impact for banks. And we were the first bank to publish any type of climate alignment disclosure, committing to steer our business towards science-based scenarios. We were a founding member, of course, of the Principles for Responsible Banking, and our work has now laid the groundwork for the collective commitment to climate action. And that's now been signed by 38 banks since the end of 2018 globally. And this is the banking sector's farthest reaching commitment to climate alignment. So only if we work together can we make a real impact. Now, I've got a clear call to action, and I'm happy to share some of my thoughts in the panel discussion, Hamish. So look forward to having that chat.